Howdy y'all, Joe Hills here, recording as I always do in Nashville, Tennessee. And today, before we get started, I wanted to go ahead and hopefully replenish or fix some of this equipment that I've got. Like, I was lucky to get a brand new pickaxe from, or not lucky, I was fortunate to get a brand new pickaxe from TFC yesterday, which was awesome of him. But you know what? I think that I might need more than just a single pickaxe here and there. Luckily, I came home and look what I found. A note from Wells Knight with a box attached. Thanks for visiting. I probably should have told him in advance I was going to be breaking into his house and shooting at zombies and looking around and opening doors and stuff, but he was kind enough to give me a blade of Dwarven Wrath anyway, and not even install it directly in my ribs. That was very kind of him. He has also left me a pick of Dwarven Hospitality, and was kind enough not to embed it in my skull, and a Dwarven Hole Digger to remind me not to dig myself into any holes with my friends by showing up at their houses unannounced. So thank you, Wells, for this incredible gift of passive-aggressive, awesome equipment. No, I don't think Wells was actually intended to be passive-aggressive at all. I'm just joking. So please do not leave mean comments. Wells is an awesome guy, and I'm really lucky to have all this cool stuff. Not lucky, fortunate. Dang it, I'm using the wrong word. I need to be... You know, we got to think about, like, in life, how sometimes the things are just random chance. They are just luck. But you know what? Sometimes things happen to us because of hard work or dedication or something, like, within our control or within the control of others. You know, you're not lucky if you, like, you might be lucky to be born into a particular family, but you're not lucky that your mom made you food this morning. You're fortunate that you have someone who cares for you and has the time to do something nice for you. Because there are a lot of people who, their parents would love to do stuff like that, but they gotta work 2 shifts, or, you know, they're constantly slammed with stuff at the office. And that's just really something to be aware of. Like, that's not luck that that person did that. It's kindness, and I do want to appreciate the kindness of TFC and of Wells Knight, but I also want to say, like, that's part of the community that we all worked to create here, you know? We have worked to create a community that is kind and generous and works together, and so, you know, it might have been a little bit of luck that Generic B happened to think of me when he was going through his list of people to invite to Hermitcraft. But when something good to you happens on Hermitcraft, that's not luck. That's because of kindness and respect and just having good people who want to play together in a good way. And I want to recognize that, because I want to encourage others to try to foster that sort of positivity in their own communities, you know? I know a lot of you guys watch these videos and you're like, oh, I wish I had a server like that to play on. And you could have a server like this to play on. You know, when Generic B started this thing, he was pretty much nobody. I had no idea who he was. I'd literally heard of him once in a charity stream I did, and maybe that's how he heard of me, actually, because I remember him stopping by the charity stream, and I think he donated a little bit for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Foundation. And anyway, so where was I? Kindness, charity, something about money. Sometimes, oh yeah. So I didn't really know who Generic B was. When he invited me to be on the server with him, I thought it might, like, actually be a scam. I was like, no, man, you're just, I don't know you. I don't really do vanilla Minecraft. I do my own thing, and I don't really have time in my schedule for this. And, you know, he convinced me that, like, no, I'll give it a try, it's worth it. I wonder if I wish I had the original Skype chat for that. It'd be a lot of me just being, like, super dubious. Like, you guys would be amazed. And that, I think, is important to note, though, because you guys should know that if you think you couldn't set up something like this, you know what? There are other people who believe the same thing, and one of them was me, about literally this. So, you know, you gotta give yourself some credit, and also be willing to say yes sometimes when people ask you to be a part of something kind of like this, because you don't know if it's going to work out or not. And in my case, I'm very happy and very fortunate that it did. So, thank you to Wells Knight and Generic B and TFC for all your awesomeness today. So where was I? Just ripping up this bridge to shreds. You know, I don't want to, like, I wanted this kind of path here to age a little bit. I haven't worked out exactly what I want to do with this Harbor Master's hut, but I'm going to think about that a little bit off camera and get back to it. Time skip. Welcome back, everybody. As you can see, our ruins stand yet battered by storms, but not destroyed. But you know what? I was thinking about this a little bit, and as much as I want to spend this entire episode just focusing on... Whoa, there's a creeper. Hey, Mr. Creeper. Not getting too close to you. As much as I like to spend this entire episode just focusing on the physical replenishment of the tools that I have lost in my previous off-camera unnoticed death due to being left logged in while I put my daughter to bed, I'm realizing that maybe it's not just physical possessions that I need to be thinking about in terms of self-improvement, or, like, I'm not even trying to improve the state of what I've got on the server. I'm trying to get back to where I was after having so many things taken or lost or whatever. And I want to think about that. Like, I say physical, I mean digital, but still, these are things that have value, that spatially affect things, that are not necessarily more intellectual or spiritual or what have you. And personally, when I died off camera, I didn't lose anything mentally or psychologically or just in general. It didn't really stunt my personal growth. But I am realizing now that I have a little bit of time to breathe that I need to take some time not only to focus on recovering the things that I lost in the immediate past with my sudden departure, but also to look at, like, maybe where I've been lacking in terms of my personal growth and development over the course of the last few years. Because it's great to say, oh, hey, I had a cool pickaxe, and then I lost it. I'm going to get a new pickaxe. But it's another thing to say, you know, I'm a few years out of school, and maybe I don't spend as much time learning as I used to. Maybe I don't spend as much time developing as many aspects of myself as I would like. And when I was in college, I always made a point of taking classes, and even high school too to some degree, taking classes that covered a broad range of subjects that weren't always going to have some sort of clear, immediate financial payoff, like vocational training or whatever, but kind of to keep in mind that I want to know what I don't know about, and I want to push myself to attain new skills and not just new knowledge. So, you know, I'm thinking about it, and, like, I don't sketch illustrations much anymore. I used to do comics, like, almost every day, and I would just draw and write jokes, and I still write things for Twitter, and I still write things for this series, but, you know, I was thinking, when was the last time I just sketched something out real quick? Why is it so intimidating? And then I kind of realized, like, when was the last time I asked if I had sketched something out real quick? Like, this is something that maybe I should be keeping track of more than just every few months or weeks or whatever. Maybe I should be thinking every day, like, what new words did I learn today? And it's okay if they're not all in English, you know, that's fine. We got a broad scope here. We're in a part of a larger world, but I'm kind of trying to see maybe how I can train myself to get back in the habit of pushing past just getting by. And when you're doing pretty well in some regards, it's easier to ignore that because you're not necessarily thinking like, oh, okay, I'm doing poorly as a person. You know, I think I'm doing reasonably well. I'm really happy with the successes I've had artistically on YouTube, and I'm really happy with the financial situation I'm in and my ability to support my wife in grad school and whatnot. But, like, that doesn't mean that I'm doing everything as well as I could be. And that might be an impossibly high standard to do everything as well as you could be every time. But even so, it's helpful to occasionally evaluate, like, what more could you be doing? Dang it, this is going to be a problem. Or what differently could you be doing? Dang it. This is a test of your in-air prowess. Should you make the electroshock platform, you are fit to fly. Hint, think diagonally. This is not working well. Dang it. So, let's see. Now, when I was doing, particularly, when things were really rough, before my wife got into grad school and after my daughter was born, she wasn't sleeping. Not my wife, but my daughter. Whoa, now I'm up in the sky. It was really easy to say, I'm just going to focus on survival. We're just going to focus on doing what we need to do to get my wife into this program that she's interested in and to make sure that our daughter is in a good place. I've got ender pearls. We're just solving this problem. Okay. There we go. Next problem. I can't believe it took me that long to figure that out. Display model only. How much are these? 10 diamonds. Great. Now, I don't have Mendon for these, so I'm going to have to, oops, that's 11. I'm going to have to go ahead and purchase a Mendon book somewhere, too. Mendon book, okay, 3 diamonds. Well, those are out. Oh, that's a nice little map. I like that. I'm not going to put these on until I get the Mendon. So let's see. If we go ahead and land there. No fall damage. Excellent. So, there we go. Anyway, yeah, when, you know, we were kind of in survival mode and I wasn't feeling artistically fulfilled at all, it was just like, okay, everything we need to do has to be focused on survival, you know, offsetting the expenses of our daughter with freelance work and things like that. Dang it, out of Mendon books. We're going to have to go to the end probably for those. Like, you know, okay, so I'm putting all my energy into doing freelance work, and my wife's putting all of her energy into her grad school applications and taking care of our daughter. And that was good. That was the right sort of stuff for us to be doing then. But when you get in the habit of not examining what you want to do better, because, for example, in our case, we had spent so much time just focusing on getting through, it's easy when you start to get more successful to just say, oh, okay, well, I don't need to keep doing that. I know generally what I want to do, and I'm going to do it. And that's okay to go with the flow sometimes, but I feel like I really... Oh, wait, dang it. Sneaking past TFC here. I feel like I really should apologize. You know, I've had this office for a few months now. I've had my channel's doing well, and my daughter's doing great in school. My wife's doing great in school. I need to just figure out a framework to get back in the habit of improvement, because every day both of them are getting better at so many things just because they're both in educational environments, and that is something I want to have in common with them. Not necessarily being in an educational environment, but being somebody who is growing and expanding his knowledge. And so, you know, even though I might read the news every day, to some degree there's diminishing returns on stuff like that. Like, maybe if I took some of the time I spend reading the news and focused it on learning other languages or things like that, that has a payoff. Okay, Mendon, 2 diamonds. Now, does the book still come out over here? Where does it come out? Do I need to... Oh, there it is. Great. So we'll just pick that up. And then Spacebook's payment. 2 diamonds goes right there. Looks like somebody left a cursive binding book in there. Interesting choice. So let's see. Do I need Silk Touch or Luton or anything? Unbreaking 3 might be a good choice as well. So we'll go ahead and hit that button. Takes a while. It's probably some sort of magical hopper system. Or redstone hopper system. Unlikely to actually be magic, now that I'm thinking on it. So there we go. And we'll toss another 2 diamonds into there. And thanks. Thanks for the shop, Iskall. Space books. Yeah. So kind of trying to figure out how to reallocate and diversify my time will be easier. Oh, I'm going to need lapis, too. Oh, good. I brought some of that. trying to figure out how to diversify the use of my time more if I know kind of what my goals are, what I'm trying to achieve. So, I might need to let TFC do his thing for a minute. Grab some experience real quick. Life is not so easy that you just can go punch a bunch of Endermen and level up. You gotta think, like, about what you're spending your time on. And so, you know, so I'm trying to figure out, like, a rubric of, like, questions. Whoops, that's not how you do it. A rubric of things that I want to ask myself, like, every day, and every week, even. Whoops. And every month, even. Kind of figure out, like, what are the things I'm trying to cultivate in myself. So one thing, for example, you know, I want to get back to illustrating. And so maybe a question I want to ask myself every day is, what did I draw today? You know, also, though, I want to make sure it's easy when you get focused on yourself that you might accidentally lose focus on being as encouraging to others because you get caught up in your own progress. So I might want to counter that, or not counter, but balance that question or that self-examination with how have I encouraged others to be more creative today, you know? And let's go ahead and grab some signs. Of course, they're not here. I think I've got a bunch of them in the barn. But it might be valuable to even just start taking some of those signs and putting them. We'll just grab a wall somewhere and start putting these up. Start thinking about, like, what kind of questions I would want to ask myself in order to be a better person and to grow as a person. Because, you know, like, you're going to change as a person as you get older, no matter what. It's very difficult, I think, to stay the same person. So the question is, you know, how are you going to change? And how much shaping of that do you want to do yourself, you know? You can let a lot of other things just happen around you, but there's some things that you got to make happen, you know? So, like, for example, if I said, next year I want to go to more conferences, what does that actually mean? What do I have to ask myself every day? What actions do I have to take every day to attend more conferences? What's stopping me from going to more conferences now, or conventions, and meeting you guys? Okay, so, yeah. So, like, goal. Attend more conventions, right? That's terrible, like, as a sign. But these are just notes. Like, ideally we should have a semicolon, not a semicolon, a colon there, and, you know, something, but whatever. So, current limiting factors on that are going to be primarily money. How do I afford it? And so, then the real question isn't how do I afford it, but what can I do each day, to afford it? Right? So now we've broken down this goal into one primary problem. Now, if I wanted to attend a lot more conventions, I might have other kind of questions here, like how do I get enough vacation days, or how do I just get care from my daughter, or something like that. But, like, if I just wanted to attend one or two more conventions a year, next year, the biggest limiting factor is money, because my parents would probably be helpful with my daughter, or my wife would, and that wouldn't be too much of an additional burden on either of them. If I wanted to go to 8 or 10 more conventions a year, that'd be a different story. I'd be like, okay, do I bring my daughter to most of these? In fact, when is she going to be old enough? I mean, I'm hoping soon, because I would like to travel a lot more. But anyway, so what can I do each day to afford attending more conventions? And there's going to be kind of two branches there. Spend less money on other things, and create things people want to pay for, right? So, spend less money on other things. Okay, what kind of questions would I ask myself to spend less money on other things? Maybe something like, you know, once a month, I might say, have I reviewed my monthly expenses and canceled any subscriptions that are out of date or that I don't need, Like, right now I'm paying for Hulu, but maybe I shouldn't. I should have a framework that encourages me to ask every month, am I paying for something that I shouldn't be right now? Like, I think as a storyteller, I get a lot out of my HBO subscription, but that's not something that I should take as a religious fanboy belief, like HBO is always worth the money. I should ask myself every month, did I get $12 of value out of this? Well, so let's come back to that, though. Create things people want to pay for. So if one of my goals is now to create things, or create more things, or create better things, let's just say create worthy things, right? I want to create the stuff that people want. I do need to have questions like, what new stories have I discovered today? Like, I really do believe that reading and listening to podcasts about people's lives and watching TV can be a huge influence on someone creatively. And I do want to encourage myself to think every day, what have I done along those lines to develop myself and kind of culture myself to some degree. And then this also begs the question of, what will I discover tomorrow? What will I read or listen to that I wouldn't or that I hadn't in the past? It's really reassuring to go back and rewatch Parks and Rec for the millionth time, but really I might get more out of finding a new author and reading his books or a new podcast, or something like that. And also just talking to people and going to meetups. Like, what new stories have I discovered today might be answered by saying, I went to a programming meetup and heard from this guy who worked on this really neat project, and that sort of thing. So that's a good thing. That will make me a better creator. How have I planned for future creations today? Is another good question. Like, right now, I'm working on an upcoming modded series, and a lot of my modded series have fallen apart in the past because I was spending all my time kind of trying to learn as I went, which, in the super hostile world, like playing like adventure maps, you want to do everything on camera. But with a modded series, I've tried a few false starts in the past. Like 3 years ago, I had a 4-episode Hermitcraft series, and I don't want to do a 4-episode series. I want to do a 12 or 24 or 36 episode series. I want it to be something that I really can see through, and in order to do that, I need to learn the mod inside and out off camera. I need to plan, think of like, what are funny things I want to build or achieve with this mod? What are ways that I want to, well, actually, what are ways I want to present the information in the mod? Like, because just sitting there and going, I don't remember the recipe for this for 8 hours is terrible. Like, maybe if I create funny mnemonics to remember the recipes, I can share those in the videos, and it'll make the videos more interesting immediately, but it'll also make the viewers more able to remember those things when they play the mod, and it'll improve their lives, So let's see. So, kind of going back, so we've got, like, the concept of what is a good question to ask yourself daily to improve yourself. What is a good question to ask yourself monthly? Like, would be, like, something that has more of a review of data. Like, review expenses and reevaluate. Not just, like, look over the list of things you spent money on and say, yeah, that all looks good and nobody stole my credit card, but say, were each of these things worth it? And how am I going to spend my money in the future? But then, like, annually, or maybe don't even go, I might be getting ahead of myself. Maybe if I just start writing some questions down like this and doing them daily, the monthly things will become evident, and then the seasonal things, and then the annual things, Like, oh, dang it, for a second I thought that was a zombie. I'm so easily scared by stuff in Minecraft just after all those super hostile maps. But, anyway, Like, let me think for a second. How have I encouraged other creators? What new stories have I discovered today? How have I planned for future creations today? These are 3 solid daily questions I should ask myself. And I feel like they will set me on a path to really improve myself. What have I drawn today is really how this all started, but I forgot to put it on the wall. It's so easy for something to be important to you and it just to slip away like that and just avoid your notice. So yeah, it's kind of something there, and I'm not sure exactly what the final list is going to be like. I'll probably revisit this concept in a little bit once I've hammered this out more, but I did just kind of want to walk you guys through my thought process here. Oh, you know what we should do though to close out this video, because I'm so excited, I should put my elytra on. Newly mended elytra. So exciting. And let's find some fireworks. Oh, there we go. 1 firework. Let's see, I was going to pluralize those. We'll run up here real quick and grab some fireworks. So, let's grab some fireworks and just soar for a few minutes. What have I done quietly today? Might be a good question for me, actually. You know, I was just thinking like, oh yeah, it'd be fun to... Yeah, like, kind of thinking about quiet inspiration. Sometimes I like just flying in Minecraft. Just be relaxing to do this. And I kind of want to try and start encouraging my daughter to take like 10 or 15 minutes to sit quietly and meditate with me. And I'm not sure how well that's going to go. That might be its own source of amusing anecdotes. But she's been watching a lot of Avatar, The Last Airbender, and The Legend of Korra. And so I might be able to convince her to try it, given the fact that the little kids in the show sit there and meditate with their daddy, and she might think that's fun. But yeah, what have I enjoyed quietly today? Or when have I listened when did I listen quietly today? I don't know. I think all of these things are going to be revised over time. But thank you for hearing me out as I kind of thought my way through it. It is wonderful to take to the skies yet again. Anyway, until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring.